We have a new mold again. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Elliot. This is Revamped Outdoors. We're going to go over design and injection of a new soft plastic mold today. New is a relative term. Been sitting on this one for a while. I wanted to test it out and try and fish with it. I've actually fished with this already. If you've seen the Upper Mississippi River Day 1 video, I start out with this bait. I call this one the Hedgehog. And the reason I call it the Hedgehog is because it's almost a direct ripoff of the Brush Hog, which is a classic creature bait. I used to fish it a lot when I was a kid. I loved it. I used to get big blow-ups as soon as it hit the water, so I figured there's got to be a way I could design something similar to that, and I came up with the Hedgehog. So let's check that out. This is the Hedgehog. So if you're familiar with a brush hog, you will see some similarities with this. This is a bit larger of a bait. I kind of took more of a crayfish body to it. Wanted a little bit more something to it. And then just these little kind of, I guess, pigtails off the side. I also made it a little bit thicker in the back, and these paddles up here a little bit bigger. So, I don't know, calling it the Hedgehog because I kind of consider it the little brother of the brush hog. And you got brush, you need a brush cutter, and then you got hedges in your front yard that you can cut with scissors.
Those things are cool.
Puns. It's what the fishing industry is. Like 9,000 times over. That's all it is. Just puns. Try and figure out witty puns. Did get quite a few bites on this. Actually caught a lot of fish with this bait just by cutting the arms off slightly here. And then it became more of like a craw instead of a large creature bait. Came more like a craw trailer you could put on a jig or run it on Texas rig. So I've actually developed, from that experience, I've developed an actual hedge craw, which we'll probably go over in another video. Designing wise, this is just all, this is just a revolve right here around a top sketch. So essentially what you do is just go in here. I made the body itself, then I came in here, made some cuts. I revolved that into a cylinder, and then I came in with a scale, right? So what I did was a modified scale, came in here. I did a non-uniform scale, and you can bring that down and down and down and down and down. And then once you get the profile you want, then you say okay, and then you start modeling around that. So I ended up with that profile. Seemed to work well, so no real complaints there. Once I had that all filleted out, so you got to come in here, fillet it out, and make all those nice transitions. You don't have to do that as long as you have it in one body. Doesn't need nice transitions, but nice transitions makes it look nice. I don't know where I'm going with that. So once you get it filleted the way you want, you got it all set up, looks nice, yay, perfect. We're just going to do a split body, and we're going to make it into a mold box. So I've done this countless times before on my channel. You split the body, make it into a mold box, but then you want to add your vents. It's a little tough when you have these areas where the vents are kind of coming through and they're almost going to intersect with another thing. What I've done here is I've just ran a spline. So I'm going to go to create while I'm in a sketch on this surface. So I'm going to I want a surface sketch here. I'm going to create a sketch on this surface. Now we're in a sketch. I'm going to do a spline, but I'm not going to do a fit point spline. I'm going to do a control point spline. And what that allows you to do is put in a spline and then move it around. Grab our selection key, move it around kind of like this. It fits that curve for you. That's really nice. Having it do it for you instead of the fit point, because the fit point for the next step may create kind of a kink in the line, and that becomes an issue. So once we have our spline there, then we're just going to go to create. We're going to get out of our sketch first, but then we're going to go to create, and we're going to create a pipe on our line. So we find a line, we create a pipe. You click on that line, it'll then make a pipe for you. We split that in half, and that's how we get our venting. The only real issue I have with this, there's no denting or anything, which is amazing to me. I thought there would be. The only real issue I have with this is the plastic. If it's not super hot, if I'm not shooting it really hot, I won't get complete extrusion all the way out to here. So what we're looking for is all these sprues to spit plastic out so we know this whole cavity is full. A lot of the time I'll only get plastic just to the point here, or it'll go right there. And I think that's just kind of a function of too small of a chamber here in relation to the size of here. So we have a lot of plastic here. We might get cooling on this side, but it's not pushing all the way through. So like I said, on the Copa Craw, which is essentially this design shrunk down a little bit with some craws. What are those called? What are those called? You know, pincers. It's just something to keep in mind when you're designing. You don't want too stark of a transition between big and small. It does work if you get the plastic hot enough to do so, but then you're waiting around for that mold to set up before you can pour another one, so it gets a bit tedious. This is a larger bait. This ends up being about 7 inches, I think, total size. That's also why you see kind of a weird mold box shape. This shape is to conserve my silicone because you can make the mold in whatever size you want. I usually keep the outside of the mold box around 6 millimeters from the furthest point of the bait, so then I know I at least have about 6 millimeters of silicone there to stop that plastisol from moving across, and so far it seemed to work well. So then the process of this mold is very simple. It's the same thing that we've done in multiple other videos. If you're interested in that, please see episode 2 of Soft Plastic July. Did that a little while back. I go through an in-depth way of doing this, but essentially what we're going to do is we're going to find the volume of the mold, and we're going to use rice for that. So I just fill it up with rice first, put that in a clear container. I mark that volume on the clear container with the rice. Then I come through and I spray mold release on the 2 printed halves of the mold. After that, then I'm taking the volume that I get and that clear cup from the rice. I'm just going to double that volume. I do that by weight. So I pour the silicone into the clear cup that we got the volume from the rice. I'm going to get a weight on that. I'm going to double that weight for the next part. I'm going to do 3 to 100 on part B because that's what this MoldMax 60 silicone needs. And then I'm going to put it in a vacuum chamber to get bubbles out. After I sprayed the mold release onto the molds, I'm good to go. So I just pour in the silicone to that, pour it up to the top. I've found that about 14 millimeters up works great for a single injector, smaller, the standard injector. It's like 5/8 of an inch essentially. I can't remember really what that is, like 16 millimeters or something. So if you do 14 millimeters up on each side, you're giving yourself 6 millimeters of material to encase that injector, and it seems to work out just fine. So then we're just going to cut some wooden sides for it. I've done this in previous videos as well. Going to make some brackets that hold in those bolts, and then we're just going to attach it with knobs. It shoots very nicely. If you want to see me make a C block or a mixing block, blending block, whatever, 2 injectors into one, I also have a video on that. I did try this mold with that. I shot it in, I think, black and pink. I did one in black and purple as well. Mixed it up with the dual color injector. It does work well. It doesn't split in half like you would like to see, like a lamination on it. A lot of that has to do with my ability to create as well. I'm not that good at keeping constant temperatures. I'm working on a few different tools in the shop that will help me do that, but for right now, using the microwave, it's tough to get one color and the other color the exact same viscosity because if you're using like remelt or something, it has different properties, so you have to try and match that. It's tough to do with one microwave, but we're working on it, so we'll see. I really like this lure, especially because it's kind of an ode to the old brush hog. Seems like fish like it too, so I'm excited to fish this one, especially next year, a little bit in the spring. We're already hitting fall. We're coming down to like 65 degrees already at night. We're at like 45 degrees, so it's already coming. Don't know why it's coming so quick, but it's here. Happens every year, and every year I'm like, how's it happening? Well, it's seasons and they change, especially in Wisconsin. They change real fast. Winter and road construction, those are the 2 we got. 2 seasons. Come on up, it's beautiful.
Travel to Wisconsin and find out for yourself.
If you're interested in seeing me fish with this, do take it bass fishing, so I'll leave a link to that video down below. And if you did enjoy the video, please consider subscribing. Love to have you aboard. Growing a pretty cool community here. Got lots of stuff going on all this social media if you're interested in that. Also, maybe check out Instagram. I do really goofy stuff on Instagram. I did something like this. Painted up my headphones. Whatever doesn't make it on YouTube goes on there. So if you're interested, check that out. So if you did enjoy the video, please consider giving it a like too. It helps me out a lot because YouTube does not promote smaller channels anymore. And the better your likes, the better it puts it out there or whatever. So it's always nice to have new people come in, and then I can hear about their stories, what they do and everything, and then we can improve the content on this channel, because I always want to give good information to help people make their own baits and stuff, because I don't think there's a fisherman out there that doesn't think about making their own baits. So yeah, okay, I think that's about enough of me rambling on and on and on and on and on. Hope you had a good Labor Day. I know this video will probably go 2 weeks after that, but hope you did. And yeah, so till the next one, keep your amps up and your filament dry.
Had to stay inside, I had to hide. Started to realize where I wanna be.
I usually keep the silicone about 6 inches away from the edge of the bait. 6 inches. That's a lot.